Welcome to the Sales Podcast, session 57. It's time to design the planet. Welcome to the 57th edition of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host, and today we've got another one of my cousins, Adrienne Folse of Design the Planet. She lives in New Orleans, Louisiana now, originally from Baton Rouge, like me. Les le bon temps roulé, little party language going on there. But in honor of my marketing cousin's background and the fact she's on the podcast today, our joke is a marketing joke today, and it goes like this. What is a pirate's favorite piece of marketing content? A webinar. That's pretty bad, huh? That's pretty bad. I think it's kind of funny, though. I bet you'll use that again. I bet. But what is not bad is the Sales Podcast entrepreneurial creed, which is, today is my day. I work diligently towards my goals, which are bigger than me. I bite off more than I can chew because only then will I truly know my current limits, and surpassing them becomes my new goal for today. Through education, accountability partners, and bold, decisive action, today will be better than yesterday, and tomorrow will be better yet. I'm ready to produce. If you're really ready to produce, check out my new program, Market Like a Man. I'll be releasing this during InfusionCon, April 23rd through the 25th. The early bird signups will save you a good bit of money on a lifetime membership. This isn't something that will nickel and dime you every month for eternity. One lifetime payment gets you access forever. Check out marketlikeaman.com. Sign up to be on the early bird registration, and I will notify you when we unveil it. And now, without further ado, my cousin, Adrienne. Adrienne Folse, my second cousin in a row this week from Louisiana of Design the Planet. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How are you, cousin?
I'm great, thanks.
Thanks for overcoming your fear and trepidation and placing your trust in your older cousin. Shouldn't you have learned by now never to do that?
I know. This is going to get me into trouble, right?
I am turning everything around. I am doing a totally different podcast just to mess you up. All right. So for those that don't know you, and after this, everyone will know you. But for those that don't, would you mind giving us a quick thumbnail sketch of who you are and your business and what you do?
Oh, man, I will. Wish I had prepped better for this.
Nope, no prep.
I know. Okay.
Shoot from the hip.
I'll be vague. I'm over 40. I'll start there.
Hey,
so
I was 44 yesterday.
Exactly. I knew it was your birthday.
There you
Happy
go.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right. So anyway, gives you an idea of how old I am. I've been a business owner for about 15 years.
Yep.
Actually going on 16 years, so doing well. And, of course, my core company is Design the Planet. And there's an offshoot, part of our company that specializes in working with just construction companies. It's called the Brand Constructors. And then more of the company that I spend a lot of my time working on is franchise brand innovation. So that's the company side of what I do. I've been married for almost as long as I've been in business to my wonderful husband, Robert Folse, who is a financial investment advisor, but he has a degree in marketing, so he also helps us a bit every once in a while. It's great to have that resource.
Cool.
He's one of the most supportive husbands ever, so he allows me to do everything also that I'm doing and lots of support there. And we have two wonderful children, Brendan and Kara. Brendan is 11 right now, and Kara is 9. And we live here in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I've been here, maybe closer to 20 years at this point.
Good grief.
I know. It's been a long time.
and you're still sober and vertical. Hey, I commend you.
Yes, I'm so vertical now that I now have my stand-up desk, and I stand up all day.
I've been pondering that. I told my wife about it, and she was like, "Why do you want one of those?" So we got a new chair for my birthday, so at least my butt feels better. But I don't know. I think I need to stand more.
Yeah, because I sit because what I do is in front of the computer so much that it's really just not healthy for you. The other part of our lives, we're workout and health on the fanatical end. I agree. And,
yes, you are. I see your pictures on Facebook. It's amazing.
But sitting down for 6 or 8 hours, just really, it's not healthy for anybody. But for me, it was just like, okay, I had never even seen a stand-up desk, and I was like, wow, I got to try that. So actually right now I have like an old TV tray and a couple of boxes that hold up my monitor and my laptop and everything else. So that's where I am right now. But I did it for 2 days and I haven't gone back. I mean, now I've been doing it for like 2 months, but.
Well, I do a lot of work with Infusionsoft, that software for email marketing and stuff, and I go to their offices a bunch, and more of them have stand-up desks, and one guy has a treadmill at his stand-up desk.
I have seen those. I'm not ready for that.
Like, good grief. But see, my situation is, so like I converted one of our rooms in the house as my home office, and I've got dual monitors mounted to the walls and cabinets my brother-in-law built in and lighting, and I mean I would literally have to, I don't know, rip it all out, or I don't know, build it on the other corner and let the kids take this. Decisions.
Yeah, you're not ready yet.
But I do want to do it. So. All right, so you're in shape. Very nice. Okay, so first thing that comes to mind. So you mentioned you have 3 different entities, but basically all to do the same thing. What's the rationale? And do you recommend other companies, if they serve different niches, to niche down their sites like you have? Yeah,
we were generalists for a very long time. A lot of agencies we're going to work for everybody, and that's it. And it sounds really good. Hey, we can work for anybody and everybody. And just like in the real marketing world, if you're working for anybody and everybody, then actually your marketing is never really focused.
Yep.
So after around doing the generalist thing, working for branding and websites and logos for all kinds of companies all over the board, at about 10 years, I ran into somebody who has been in the industry even longer than I had, and they're like, "Hey, well, what are you specialized in?" And I was like, specialized?
Right.
Why should I be specialized? I want to work for everybody. Mm-hmm. And then they shared a little bit of their story about becoming specialized. And I was like, so I spent some time looking at the clients that we loved working for, the clients who could afford to pay us, yep, and that we liked working for. So the first niche that we developed was we had several construction companies that we were working with, large construction companies, not like we build one house a year kind of construction companies, like the companies that they are responsible for building the highway system, or they're responsible for building the 20-story buildings, or larger construction companies. Yep. And we loved working for them. They understood what a subcontractor was. They were like, you know what, marketing and design is not our world. Make us look good. I mean, we have to go in and still understand who they are, but they wanted to work with us, and they allowed us to help them a lot. So we said that group was awesome. But the Design the Planet was a little fluffy for real construction men. So but we already had those couple of construction clients. But like I said, we knew if we wanted to really niche and be more successful at it, that we needed to build something that connected with them on a regular basis and that they understood. And so thus we created the Brand Constructors.
Yeah.
So for a while we were, and actually I don't run the Brand Constructors. Perrin Olson in my office, he runs it. He's gone and gotten further education in marketing and advertising, specifically for the construction and engineering, and so he's spending a lot of time furthering his education in that realm.
Oh wow.
Specializing is great because it allows you to say, I'm going to focus learning in this area. And you can learn more and more and more and become more of a resource and get better at it. Then when you're a generalist, you learn about this, you learn about that, and it's exciting. But you're never focusing your attention on one industry. So Perrin's been building, and we've been building it for 5 years now, and it is amazing. We're talking to construction companies all across the U.S. and occasionally in Canada. So it's awesome, and we're able to help them. And honestly, we're doing similar stuff. We Design the Planet, Brand Constructors. We're doing similar stuff. There's a few things that, of course, are going to be a little different, but most of all, we're doing a lot of the same core things. We're just working on vertical industries. So we have the brand constructors, and then after we got brand constructors more launched and on the way, and parents working on that component and doing really well, I got more into figuring out what my love was and what I enjoyed doing, and working with companies that were multi-location or franchise. It's either or. It's not always just franchise, but helping companies, because there's so many owners that build up these companies really quickly, and then they start having problems with their branding and their marketing, and they just don't know what to do with it. We've worked with companies that are having naming problems, and companies that don't know how to get their ad fund running and stuff like that. But so I found my passion, and that's why I'm working on developing more of the franchise focus for Design the Planet at this point.
Right. Very cool. So, but going back to the brand constructors, you didn't just pay this lip service. You didn't just make another website and say, "Ha ha, I tricked you, we got you." I mean, you've dedicated a person to really truly become an expert in that industry.
Oh, absolutely, and that's important. You can't just give it lip service, because if parent shows up and he can't talk their language and understands what their real pains are, he's going to sound just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. He understands what's going on with the construction companies. I can't even keep up with him in the and I'm still involved, and I help with the creative aspect of it. But he gets into construction conversations. I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
So it does make a huge difference, and the clients know.
Yep. Remember old Fletch? Huh? It's all 220, 221, whatever it takes. It's all ball bearings these days. We need some duct tape and some ball bearings. Gotta love it.
Yes.
All right. So you've got those two, but then your other is, where are my notes? The franchise brand innovation.
Yes.
So is that, again, just to resonate with the franchise folks? Because it seems like Design the Planet would be fine for franchise brand innovation.
Yeah, the Design the Planet, whenever I talk to people, I do talk about Design the Planet as the company that they're working with. Franchise brand innovation, the website that you see there is built so that we have a platform web-wise to market and advertise specifically to those people. And you'll see that if you go into Design the Planet, we'll have blogs, and we have some content. Not all content says franchise, 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 and we help franchise. It's because we also have the New Orleans market that we do a little bit of, work. Some of our clients are here, and we love supporting New Orleans companies and helping them grow and get better or rebrand or whatever. And so that's why Design the Planet gets left. It's somewhere in between. It has a lot of franchise verbiage and focus, but it's not all franchise.
Right. And
not
so
yet.
How big's your team now? You're up to 9?
Yes.
Very cool. Now, let's talk about some rubber meets the road kind of design and logo and whatever. And I mean,
okay.
Keeping in mind, we have two segments here, the kind of do-it-yourselfers that are bootstrapping it, that don't have the money to pay you, and then, we got people listening that may come beat down your door. But, I mean, how important is color scheme and logos, and can somebody do it themselves? And, because I've kind of had a love-hate relationship with it, right? You've helped me with the logo before, and it was great, but I was totally overwhelmed with the thought, the detail, the layers, the intricacies, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, really? Why so much? So why so much?
Well, let's see. There are lots of, I could share tons of tips and tricks for the people who are doing it themselves because they have to do it themselves.
Right.
Because some people get started and you don't have a $10,000, $20,000 budget to say, we're going to develop our look and feel.
Right.
Not everybody has that. So I have lots of advice I could share there. Right. And then also explain the difference between doing that yourself and why you would hire somebody great like us.
Right.
But is that all right?
Sure.
Okay. Well, for all the do-it-yourselfers, the things I like to tell people is that if you make your own logo, that's fine. Make sure that it's readable at about an inch wide. If I cannot read your text when it's an inch wide, one day you will have an application where your logo has to be read at an inch wide. Right. That's one of the final tests that we put all of our logos through, is that at that inch, is it still successful? Because if it's not, there's a problem. Mm-hmm. So it's a very basic item, but it's something that people forget. And then, and they want to print it on a pen, or they want to print it on something small, and then suddenly, oh, I can't read that part of my logo. So then they want to go change their logo for it to work on that thing. And that's the other thing, is when you create a logo, whatever it is, stick with it. You can't change it 25 times and have 25 logos. If you do, nobody will ever know who you really are. Right. So get a logo, make it consistent, use it consistently. That means if it's in black and white, use it consistently. If it's in color, don't keep changing the colors. Don't let the manufacturer of the ball or whatever, the squeezy ball that you're going to have it imprinted on to give away to prospects, let them change your logo color or let them stretch it. All major no-nos. Mm-hmm. So it's a very basic item, but it's a very important one, because once you put a logo out there, people start to recognize that and associate it with you and your company and your brand.
Well, so let's talk about that real quick, because now I'm seeing things like universities and whatever, and coming out with different colors, even though it's their same logo, right? But they're putting it on pink sweatshirts and black sweatshirts, even though they may be, a maroon school. Are they just trying to be stylish, and because it's a bigger brand that's recognized, people are okay, no sweat?
Yes. It's usually we're a bigger brand and it's recognizable across these other, it's also because they're one color. If you could take a one color logo solution and, maybe you normally see it in black on the pen, but if you have a brand that's very colorful, like we did one for Party Planet Extreme, they have a one color logo, and it's usually will be printed. If we're doing a one color, it's black or it's white, but it could also be neon yellow, neon green, neon blue, and it still carries all of the same brand value that the logo. But it is easier once you have a very well-known brand. Just like most people, you could probably just take a little piece of the McDonald's logo or a little piece of the Coca-Cola logo, and people still know exactly what it is.
Right. Well, what is your advice to the beginners? I always have told people, certainly in the beginning, not to worry about brand. Build your brand over time through the reputation and service you provide. And because everybody, when I work with beginners, they're focused on the brand. I'm like, why don't you go sell something? It's like, hey, hey, amen. I hope you have the most beautiful logo ever in the history of mankind. But if you don't invest $1 today on Monday and turn that into $2 by Friday, you're not going to be around to pay the designer to finish your logo.
Yes.
So how do you give the same kind of advice? Do you ever tell people, hey, hold off, or, let's keep this thing simple, until you're making some damn money? Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, those people are not going to be calling me. Yeah. However, what you said is correct, and the reason why I see it this way is brand is not, your logo is not your brand. I'm sure you may have had this discussion before. Yep. Even your printed materials are not your brand. It's everything, every way that anybody interacts with your company, whatever they think your company is when you're not looking is your brand.
Oh, there you go.
And so basically, it's how you answer the phone. It's do you follow up on customer service issues. Everything, it affects how people perceive your brand. Yep. So making the sale and making people feel good about it and delivering a good product, all of those are part of your brand. So when we're doing the graphic side of a brand, it's a part of your brand. It's not your whole brand.
Right.
So what you're saying is correct. You need to go ahead and deliver that great sale and deliver the great product. And if you have, and work on your identity as you can afford to do it.
Right. So what are some other do-it-yourselfer kind of websites or tips you can direct people towards?
Let's see. Of course, websites are important. And of course, you probably spend a fair amount of time talking about this. I don't know. I haven't gotten to listen to all of your blogs. There are lots of
Shame on you.
I know.
By the next family reunion, you better have them all memorized.
I may. I might.
All right.
Anyway, let's see. So websites, there are several. You can start. I have told people you can start with a templated website.
Mm-hmm.
Throw your logo in there. Make sure your content is good. Make sure and if you are not good at writing content, have somebody review it. Even if it's just your bud, that's going to give you that second or third review, or your friend's mom, somebody else who cares. Yep. And make sure that your content and your website have at least an appropriate look and feel, and they're not cluttered, and you feel like they represent you well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good basic way to start. I think people do need to spend at least a small amount of money having a worthwhile business card. It is sometimes the main thing that people walk away with after they've had a conversation with you. So having it doesn't feel paper thin, really super cheap business card, I think is still an important part of being in business. So spend a teensy bit of money on your business cards, even if it's just to make sure that you have a thicker stock than the next guy.
Yep.
Let's see, what else? Website, business card. As far as I did talk to somebody the other day. They were trying to start a company, and they were I think they were talking to us way too early, which was exciting, but it's way too early. And one of the things I suggested to them, and that every company should have, is write down your story. Mm-hmm. Why should people? What is your company, and why should people care?
Right.
And write it down and read it. And read it again, and or fix it if it's not fixed. And then, because when you go talk to people, if you're wishy-washy about what you're talking about, hey, we're going to kind of be this, and we're going to kind of be that, and okay, you're never going to sell to anybody. You need to be specific and say, this is who we are, this is where we're headed, and this is what I'm selling. And you need to be able to say it consistently. Right. So that's the other thing, is I tell people to write stuff down. People are like, oh, I've got it in my head. I'm like, in your head doesn't help.
Mm-hmm.
Write it down.
Yes, basically, we get into that. We call it your unique selling proposition. You know, why should people choose to do business with you?
Yep.
And even considering an option may be to not spend money at all. You know, so you've got to have that compelling story.
Well, that's part of it. But also what I've noticed is that there are some people who are serial entrepreneurs aren't bad, but some people start off with a business and they're like, they didn't write anything down. And so their business model keeps changing. Therefore, they are actually getting nowhere. Mm-hmm. And so the opportunities just start, hey, we could do this. We could sell sandwiches, and we could make our own sunglasses, and we could, and then stuff that just is not connected, but their brain kind of goes on to the next thing. Whereas if you wrote it down and you reviewed it every day, that's what I'm doing. That's the direction I'm working in. And so it keeps some of the people who get distracted and want to run on to the next thing from doing that.
Right. And, I call it, you have to choose who to lose. Mm-hmm. You got to know who you don't serve, which was when we started the call before we hit the record button. You told me you have chosen, you choose who to lose in two big demographics. And what are those?
There are some. I'll give you my except for. We after actually having worked for both of these groups, we figured out that they're not a fit for us. That is, we don't work with doctors directly, and we don't work for attorneys or large attorney firms or actually anything related to law firms. Ironically, we have done work on the Design the Planet side. We've done work for courthouses. Entire courthouse website, all that information and stuff like that. Yep. We don't work directly for attorneys anymore. Just there's too much. We've worked for large law firms in the past, and they've just got so many decision makers that their creative gets so watered down. It's no longer rewarding, and they never do anything great. So We just took them off the list. And doctors, I didn't get to tell you about why doctors, but honestly, I'm sorry, all the doctors out there. I know you're good at what you do. Y'all, most of them have a God complex, and they want to tell us how to design their website.
Right.
or how to do anything for them. And, that's really not how you get a new product or a new anything out there, because they all want to copy off this other doctor's website that they saw. Mm-hmm. So both of those people, if they call in, we just don't. The cat at the front desk says, "I'm sorry, we're not. That's not in our industry." Blah blah blah. She has a whole great spiel worked out, so that we don't want to piss anybody off, but that we just try to tell them that they need to look elsewhere.
And then you refer them to your arch nemesis competitors and let them get bogged down.
Actually, no, there are people who specialize in working with attorneys and working with doctors. Sure. And actually, if you know any of them, they can contact me, because we do try to supply people with information like, hey, you're not a fit for us. We've identified that. However, these are some resources that we know do specialize in working with attorneys and doctors.
Right.
And so I'd love to have more contacts there, because we do work on rerouting people, not just leaving them, with nobody to assist them.
Yeah, I mean, these doctors should know that only sales and marketing people should have the God complex. Nothing happens until a sale is made. I'm just saying.
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
Well, you're right about that.
All right. So what has to be considered when building this brand? Because you're doing everything, right? Web design, logo, slogans. Do you do like jingles, like radio advertisements, and then also the print material?
Yep. We covered everything I can do in-house. We do in-house. We'll even write up TV and oversee TV spots, but we do not record them. So that's something that we don't do in-house. Obviously, I don't record radio here either, but we'll write up spots related to them. But we really do. We work on doing everything that affects the brand. Where we start is we usually do some type of review, a brand-based audit for a new client, and to understand where they are, because most of the clients we work with, I want to say about 85, 90%, they've already been in business for 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 years. So we have to go in and learn about their brand, who they really are. We do a lot of research on the ground at their locations, and we do a lot of documentation on what's going on with the brand. Sometimes we find problems that are going on that are they're not designable brand fixes, but if they're having a training problem or they're having other problems, we certainly note that and give them that information as well. But we do the brand audit after we have a full understanding of what the brand really is, not just what the owners think it is, which are usually two very different things.
Yep.
That's at that point is once we have a full understanding of the brand, and then we also have the input from the owners of where they want to take it. What is their next level? Where do they want to go? And what do they perceive as wrong? We take all that information and then we say, okay, what needs to happen here? Does a rebrand need to happen, or where are the disconnects happening, and how do we work on fixing them? And it's, some of it's, sometimes it's, we got to restart with your logo and then work all the way down. And sometimes the answer is, the logo's fine, but you're not your target audience. You're missing on your target audience. So we need to redefine who that is and work on reconnecting with them. So we start with a brand-based audit, figure out what's going on, and then we see what might need to happen. And then whatever we need to do internally, we work with that. If they just need more training or if they need other things, we work on referring them to other people. Anyway, so we really work on helping companies fix and work with or improve their whole brand.
So 16 years ago, websites, they were, of course, around, but you had to hard code things in HTML, yada, yada. Social media didn't really exist.
Yep.
Hell, I don't think Google existed 16 years ago, did they? I think they came around 99, I think.
I know I was a major Yahoo user early on.
Yep. So what have you seen? How have things shifted, and where should people be focusing now? Because you do a little bit of everything, right? You mentioned radio, television, print, yada, yada. I mean, where are you telling people to spend their energy and their dollars?
You can't answer that question.
Come on. I can ask it. I can ask anything. I won't ask how much you weigh, but I can. I can ask it.
it will totally depend on who they are. And I can give you some, I mean, obviously differences between, 15, 16 years ago and now, and a little bit about where people should be spending their money. Everybody obviously wants to be doing the social media. I don't think I need to give that a ton of lip service. Yes, you should be doing social media. You should decide what kind of social media would be good for your company, because all social media is not good for all companies, or doesn't always make sense. Yep. Unless you have a staff of about 50 people who can back it up all the time. So especially for the smaller companies, choosing the couple event social medias that work for them, and then moving forward with that. And at the larger companies, sometimes they've got an internal staff and they can do it all. It's amazing. Right. So social media, people should still be, if you've been in business for a while and you have a decent sized client base, or you're trying to expand your client base, or especially if you're retail, you cannot be in social media only. You need to have other stuff out there. It doesn't have to be a ton, but people are starting to undervalue or not see the value in stuff that's printed. And there are so many people that you're not going to reach without a piece of printed material. And also, print material reaches people on a different level now, because everything is so digital, and getting a tangible item occasionally can be very powerful. And I always tell people that the clients that you've had for 10 years, and if you're wondering where they are, when was the last time you sent them something or talked to them? Because people always look at that next shiny object. Oh, what's that? And then they go visit that other store. It's kind of similar, but not the same. But they started looking at that store, and they may have been a great client for 10 years, but I guess people aren't stupid, but people's brains are kind of stupid, and they will eventually forget if you don't remind them to come back. And not everybody's going to get touched by social media. Right. So still having an ad here and there, still sending out a postcard here and there. Oh my God, God forbid you write a handwritten letter to somebody. Oh my gosh.
Shazam.
You would be shocked at what happens when you write, or even just sign and say thank you or whatever in a handwritten letter these days. So obviously web has changed so much, because, I've coded an e-commerce site at least not 15 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. And they were hammered with business, and we did really, really well for several years, so much so that they even had to shut down the site because they were not prepared internally to take care of all of the orders that were going on, which sounds crazy to me. I'm like, fix the staffing issue, fix what's going on here, communicate with these people. But they weren't ready. They were a store on Magazine Street. They were just like, you know what? We're a couple of hippies, and we're not going to. These people didn't have a face. There was not this big digital presence that was going on, and everybody wasn't always online. So, if there's a problem, and I just, put my credit card in and ordered something, they were just faceless. They can't show up at your store and complain. And so, not that that's exactly changed, but now there's social media. So if there's this advertising and you don't fulfill orders, well, people are going to be bitching and complaining, and you can't get away from it now.
Yep, I know. Yeah, you got to be able to back it up.
Yep.
So do you find yourself getting involved almost in business process and consulting, and at least providing that type of insight when people bring you on for what they think is a marketing overhaul?
Oh yeah, especially in the franchise arena, when we're helping. I tell people my sweet spot for franchising is it's usually between 20 and 300 locations, because usually larger than that, they've got a much larger internal staff, but smaller than that, a lot of times they don't have somebody, I guess, at my level who understands all the different components. Because we spend a lot of times, in order to duplicate successfully and do it again and again and have that consistency, there has to be lots of processes and guides and all kinds of informational pieces that go to the franchisee to make sure that your brand is getting delivered consistently. And if you're out selling the franchises, you're the franchisor, you're out there, and you're their sales team, they're out selling the franchise to the possible franchisees. But you have to have, once it's sold, you've got to have the guides and all the implementation plan. So a lot of times we're building a lot of that to hand to the franchisees so that they can do things correctly.
Well, how do you protect yourself? You come in and you do a bang-up job on marketing, but their salespeople are inept. Sales management is terrible. They don't have a CRM or a good follow-up thing in place. So, your marketing is making the impression, is making the phone ring, getting people to come in, but, they're serving cold food from mean waitresses.
That's one of the reasons why I do I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off.
Oh,
Finish. Go ahead.
No, jump in.
Okay. That's one of the reasons that we do a brand-based audit, because there was, in the 10 years when we were getting started and working for companies, we made loads of great design and great marketing, and companies were, occasionally would still have major problems. And, we're looking at what we're delivering. We're looking even at the response that, was achieved. And then the company still isn't successful. And of course, they're going to want to look back at their marketing and advertising and go, well, what the hell's going on? And so I started doing initially just free. I'd go, but it was local. I could just go run into the stores and go see everything that was going on. Right. And I've trained with Disney, and there's all types of customer service stuff. And do I offer customer service? No. Do I know when things are going wrong? Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I started going into some of the, there's a client who's wanted to reintroduce themselves for the second or third time. And I said, I can do this for you, but you have to fix what's not working in your restaurant right now.
Right.
What? Not everybody wants to do that. And can I still do the work for you and take your money? Absolutely. Yeah. Will it make a difference long term? No. Mm-hmm. I tell people, it's look, if you hire us and we do our jobs right, and if you listen and improvements are made, a lot of times you can pay less in your advertising and your marketing.
Right.
Because you go and you fix the thing, everything, or a lot of what's not working. And a lot of business owners are excited about it. And some just want you to come in, put the lipstick on the pig, whatever you want to call it, and send them on their merry way. And right. I don't like doing that. I'd prefer to help people solve the issues that exist. Right. So, like I said, after having done this for several years, I just started reviewing the companies, and some people they'd go and make their changes, and, service problems, like your waitress could keep zero eye contact while I was at the table. She was always looking at the next table. She heard half of what I said. She brought the wrong entree. But in the end, it's the owner's fault. They haven't trained their people.
Yep. Yeah, and we do the same thing. We'll do a free 30-minute consultation. It's all right, if we think you're legit and you're not a dreamer and we can help you, we call it an initial process assessment, and it's a retainer. And it's okay, now you're going to get our team to really peel this onion.
Yep.
And see exactly what you got. And those that don't want to pay it, we don't take them on. Mm-hmm. It really is that simple. And everybody listening needs to realize, you got to raise your standards, raise your level of expectation, even of your clients, because you go pinstripe somebody's piece of junk Pinto that's leaking oil and the transmission's about to fall out of it. They're going to be quite mad. They paid you, $3,000 or $5,000 for new tires and a paint job on a car that won't drive. And that's what you're going to get yourself into. Mm-hmm. And that is no fun.
No fun.
All right. Well, any other words of wisdom for our listeners?
I think I covered my major words of wisdom.
All right. Give us your minor words of wisdom.
Don't ever assume. Don't ever assume. Let's see. What was the other one? Oh man, it's not coming to my mind.
Yeah, and I get into that in the sales training. Just ask good questions and I always say whoever speaks first after the hard question is asked loses. Ask the hard question, get them uncomfortable.
Yes.
And sit there, let them squirm until they come up with an answer. You know, but because you're my cousin, I didn't want you to squirm too long.
I appreciate that.
So where can everybody find you? It's designtheplanet.com is your main home on the web?
Yep, that's it.
All right, and Twitter, I'll have all the show notes here, but Twitter is Design the Planet.
Yeah, and the construction part is called the Brand Constructors. You can go search on that.
Yep, brandconstructors.com and franchisebrandinnovation.com.
Actually, I think for Brand Constructors, it's Brands Under Construction.
Is it? No, it's not. I'm on your site.
It is it?
Hold on. I'm clicking right now. Bam. Design the Planet. Bam. Yeah, this is you. Where'd I go? Where'd it go? The Brand Constructors. But the URL is just brandconstructors.com.
Yes, brandconstructors.com.
Look at how much you're removed. I'm proud of you. Just assign that to your peeps to say, make me some money.
Well, somebody has to, and like I said, Perrin runs this whole area. So he's done a really great job. So I let him run the show. I back him up on all the design and the branding and help him make those hard internal decisions. But otherwise, yep,
that's cool, and
it's exciting.
I mean, that's why you've been around so long. While you're growing, because you can delegate. You've got to step away. You've got to hire good people and trust them. Trust them to do their job. You know, hire slow, fire fast, right?
Yes. Oh, that's a great motto. I love that.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate you taking a little time and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, Wes.
All right. Have a great day.
All right. Bye.
So what did you learn there? Number one, there's riches in niches. Notice how she branched out, has multiple websites, but she's not just creating websites to appear to niche. She actually has people on her staff that are experts in that niche. So that helps them grow, it helps them get better clients, more profitable clients. And notice, too, how she, you choose who to lose. You know, she says, I don't work with doctors or lawyers. Fantastic. You know, pick who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. It's okay. You know, sometimes when you clearly define what you are not, sometimes that's more powerful than saying what you are and what you do. So take note of that. Figure out how to apply it to your own business. Make sure your logo is readable at 1 inch wide. Stick with your logo. Don't be tweaking it and changing it all the time. Because like she says, your logo is not your brand. Your printed material is not your brand. How you do what you do is your brand. So there's money right there. There's gold in them thar hills. So be sure to visit Adrian at designtheplanet.com. And if you want more gold in your hills and you want to pull it out of the hills and put it in your bank account, sign up now for Market Like a Man. I'm going to be taking everything I've learned, really going back to even before I got into business, things that I learned growing up in the South, things I learned at the Air Force Academy as an officer in the Air Force. I was starting to invest in stocks and bonds back in 1992. Launched entrepreneurial ventures as early as 92, 93. And I've made a lot of money. I've lost a lot of money. I've made a lot of money again. I've built a successful business now that's growing. And I'm going to show all of that in this Market Like a Man program. And it's not just for men, but you need to sign up now to understand what it's all about. So check out marketlikeaman.com and get on the early bird list, and we'll be unveiling that here soon. Thanks for listening, and as always, remember to sell different.